Yeah, okay. Let me turn it on. Okay, there we go. I got a new mic, so I'm adjusting to it. All righty. Somewhere there's some. Okay, that I had to get the YouTube out of there. So, hi, for those of you all who are new to our live streams, my name is Michelle Williams. I am the president of the Houston Education Association. We are an affiliate of the the Texas State Teachers Association and an affiliate of the National Education Association. So if you're new here, thank you for joining in on our live stream. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are live streaming multiple platforms on YouTube, X. Hopefully, one day we can get off of X and move over to Blue Sky. But for right now, that's where we are. And then we are live streaming on Facebook as well. So if you are watching this and you want to, or you're a teacher, that's on mute. We have multiple school district locals. If you would like to become a member, I just saw that it was mute. I don't know why every time I do an update for eCam, it goes mute. So thank you for telling me. Um, if you would like to become a member of the Houston Education Association, we're local in Houston ISD. You can go to mytsta.org, or if you are a teacher in one of the surrounding school districts and you're watching this in the state of Texas, you can become a member of your local. Even if you don't have a local, you can still become a member of the Texas State Teachers Association in um in Texas, because we represent teachers. Thank you. We represent teachers in all around Texas. Well, we don't represent are charter schools. Charter schools do not are not represented through our association. I'm sorry. Um, so if you're a charter school person, that's where we are. I don't know if we'll ever represent you all, but you can join in the good fight as well. But today I am talking about this is board recap day, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I love doing board recaps because a lot of things that I want to say during the board meeting, I can't say because they are, first of all, you can't say it because it's like one-way conversation. So I do the board meeting recaps because a lot of the stuff that they talk about during board meetings, I'm gonna be honest with you, they do not, it's educational jargon. And if you don't know what jargon is, that means that they use a lot of educational words that don't make sense to the public. So this is a way for me to break it down for you all. And the board recap. There's no other board recap. And if you missed the board meeting, this is a way for you all to get information that, without watching a 2 hour board meeting. So, without further ado, let me see. Let me make sure I have it queued up.
Interested in. And I was like, okay, I jumped on in. But once again, 25 years.
Yeah, let me stop him right there because we're going to definitely talk about him. That's a teacher in HISD who decided to show up to the board meeting and misrepresent who he was. And I'm going to tell you why this is significant. I know some teachers don't agree with me calling him out on his deception, but we're in a fight for public education. And the unfortunate part is that we're going to have teachers who are on the wrong side of this fight. But I'm going to talk about him and the conversation that I had with him during this board recap. So let me cue it up. I always like to, if you're new to this live stream, I always like to go through some of the board meeting speakers that were really impactful and things that you definitely need to hear from certain board speakers, because there's a lot of them. I think it's like 63. I'm not going to even show you mine because y'all hear from me all the time, but I want you to hear from other speakers who actually spoke at the board meeting. Let me hold on one second. Let me share this live stream to one other location and we can get this party started. Let me see. And yep, we're about to let it rip. So let me start here.
Poet like Maya Angelou and a singer like Whitney Houston, please.
So they had, it's Black History Month, and they had the winner from the Black History oratory. What's the word I'm looking for? Oratory. Uh, Forget it. If they were competition, that's what I was looking for. I lost my mind. All right, so they're introducing her, and I'm going to give her her just due on our platform, and because she's a very good speaker. I hope that she evolves into a poet like the current poet that spoke at the White House and talked about, I can't think of her name, but it'll come back. But her and Maya Angelou.
Honor us, and please give a round of applause for Montoya Merrill.
Good evening. God bless America, land that's our long. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the lights from above. God, please bless America, my home, sweet home. America, America, we stand today in a nation saturated with ideals of freedom and bravery. Dr. King once said, in America, millions of people experience daily the opportunity of the pursuit of happiness. He would be so proud of how far we have come, from segregation to integration, from racism in the neighborhood to living as a brotherhood. Yes, God has blessed America. However, Dr. King acknowledged in his speech the other America. The reality is, there are two Americas, one flourishing with prosperity, the other plagued by poverty and inequality. The question was asked, what will Dr. King tell us about our responsibility as citizens and leaders in America today? Dr. King would remind us that our responsibility is to keep America's hearts beat strong and in harmony with God, to create a society rooted in equality. Let me share moments from my own life that brings this idea to light. When I was a little girl, in 2019, at the end of my kindergarten year, we performed Sing a Song by Earth, Wind, and Fire. The message was simple. If you're down and out, sing a song and it'll make your day. At that time, America's heartbeat was steady. Boom, 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 boom. Then, COVID-19 struck. The nation's heartbeats raced with panic as over 1.2 million lives were lost and the rhythm of America weakened, sending us to our knees crying, God, please bless America. Dr. King, a drum major for justice, kept the rhythm of the heartbeats of America alive. He would tell us the impact of COVID-19 caused severe damage to our country, and our nation's heartbeats lost the rhythm, causing us to need bypass surgery. In our democracy, we must stabilize the heartbeats of our nation. But shortly after the start of COVID, America chose to bypass justice after the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery. On January 6th at the insurrection, we bypassed peace, and during the 2024 election, rude commercials featured candidates lashing out at the other side, causing America to bypass righteousness. Just like the heart needs surgery when it is damaged or weak, the heartbeat of America requires care when it is out of sync, filled with hateful rhetoric. Dr. King envisioned an America where justice flows like a mighty river, ensuring equality for all. He dreamed of a nation where innocent immigrants fleeing pain and sorrow can find hope, legally and with dignity. Today, faced with the challenges of division and despair, when innocent children are gunned down at school, Dr. King would cry out, is there a medic in the room? America needs CPR now because of the pain and gloom. See, call on God to uphold justice. Just as a surgeon must carefully restart the heart after surgery, America must actively work to restart its commitment to justice. P promotes peace among all people. In a world fractured by division, Dr. King would implore us to build bridges, not walls. Finally, R, righteous living required. He would say, choose faith and family over fame and fortune. Choose principles over political parties. Vote for character over color. Love your neighbors more than the likes he gets on TikTok. I stopped by to tell you, on my way to middle school, that Dr. King would say, America, you've made it this far, now try CPR. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you.
She made some very good points about America. It was a very good speech, and it was appropriate for today and what we're personally dealing with, from her view and perspective of what Martin Luther King or Dr. Martin Luther King would have told us, what his words for us would be, and not just for Black America, but for all Americans. Um, and yes, Amanda Gorman, that's her name. Thank you. She for such a tiny person, she's in fifth grade. We hope to see more of her and her speaking the truth about what America should be versus what America is at this current moment. So let's move on.
December.
So then we have Mike Morav's second in command. I don't even know why he was here to announce a new conservator. Yeah, we got it. The other conservator had been in HISD for over a decade and did nothing. So here we have another one. We'll see what she does, which probably is nothing. Because if you were there to oversee special education and special education didn't get any better, then why is she there? But hey, who am I? Let's carry on.
Dr. Doris Delaney, who was the conservator for this district preceding you guys all the way back to 2016, announced her retirement. Dr. Delaney is amazing and leaves huge shoes to fill. And I'm here tonight to announce her replacement, formally announce her replacement, who TEA is confident will provide the same exceptional level of leadership that Dr. Delaney did for this district to support you guys in this district's transformation. Dr. Anastasia Lindo Anderson has for many years worked in Houston, including as a teacher, principal, and administrator in Houston ISD, working on behalf of at-risk students to improve their lives. We feel incredibly fortunate at the agency to be able to recruit someone of such high caliber to serve in this very important role as the new conservator for the district. Dr. Anderson will be joining you guys in closed session, just like Dr. Delaney did. This is her first official meeting. In your inbox, you'll be receiving the official appointment letter soon. But please do remember, as a note, that the presence of a conservator in all of our Board of Managers districts is part of the agency's playbook. The role of the conservator in Houston, especially in a district as large as Houston, is really to be a partner with the appointed board, with the superintendent, to be a strategic partner, to be a force multiplier, and to be an extra set of eyes, especially important as you guys do the incredibly difficult and important work that you're doing on behalf of kids in such a large district. So again, Dr. Anderson will be joining you guys after the open session meeting, but I did want to formally appear in front of you to introduce her. Dr. Anderson, if you'll just wave real quick. We're thrilled to have her on the team. Thank you, board members. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Lechlow, and welcome, Dr. Anderson. Good to see you again. Absolutely. Okay, so let's now.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something that you would not see because I was at the board meeting. I'm at every board meeting. So, what I did observe when they had their brief intermission, I observed Cassandra Ozan Banding walking down and hugging this lady. So, let's be clear about education. For the most part, people get jobs and appointments because they know somebody who knows somebody who know somebody. That's how this works. They don't get people who they don't know. Because trust and believe that lady, once I find out who she is, she's going to be connected to somebody. And what she's going to do is absolutely, I can predict, is the same thing that the previous conservator did. Nothing. HISD will not get better. I mean, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. We had a conservator for 10 years, and what did she do? Nothing. So I can only predict that nothing will happen. What has TEA done so far for HISD but make it worse? They sent Mike Miles down here to destroy the district. They sent these board of people who think that they represent HISD, they're destroying the district and they're allowing all this foolishness to happen. But I'm a firm believer in you reap what you sow, and consequences are not immediate. Their consequences are coming later. I promise you that. Because I've already said if I see any of their names on any ballot, on any commercial, on anything, running for any office, they could be running for to run the Kool-Aid stand on the corner. I'm going to say, please do not trust those people because they will sell you out because that's what they're currently doing to HISD. But I digress. Let's move on.
Now we're going to hear from public officials and student speakers and speakers wishing to address.
Yeah, let's move on. I want to hear Rick Campo talk, but Mr. Reverend Doctor, I'm being funny. Savant Moore gave a moving speech. I had to stand up like I was in
Promptly
church.
at the end of your comments, and also promptly when your time has expired and the bell timer rings. We'll start with public officials. Will HISD Board Education Trustee Savant Moore please come to the microphone? Very good. Good to see you.
Happy Black History Month. Thank you to the community engagement team, Board of Manager Martinez and Bandy for showing up in Fifth Ward the other week. Steps like this make a difference. Yet there are many policies still need to be fixed. You say you love us, but we don't see it. You say you like us, but we don't feel it. Your words say one thing, but your actions tell another. Kids are screaming for help. Where is the policy that says schools are a safe zone from ICE? Instead, you suspend them and send them home where ICE can take them. Students use school choice to access the best education, so you take away their buses, forcing them out of the district. A retired accountant says you're disappointed and you have her arrested in this very room. To the public, call your governor, your senators, your state reps. Demand they pass Senate Bill 285, 564, and House Bill 2533 to return our district to local control. Yes. To every believer, pray like never before. They think we have no power, but they are sadly mistaken. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. And let me leave you with this. There was a little girl that you took the bus away from her. She used school choice, and she had to drop out of the school because you wanted to return her to her neighborhood school where she suffered with depression and suicidal thoughts. Well, her parent put her into an online school, and she's making all A's, and she just got accepted into a dream college. So we will continue to prepare. There is nothing that can stop us, regardless of you putting up those type of walls. And I still will pray for you, and I still will love you. God bless you, and God bless HISD.
Thank you.
Sorry, I thought I took it off mute. Education and knowledge is power. And I'm going to state what I said. That was a moving speech because HISD cannot, there was a state representative that, made the statement that she was told that the people in Austin believe, and one of the state representatives, I don't know who it was, she didn't name them, made the statement that the children in HISD are not worth educating. That was what was said to her. And the reason why you have this spectacle before you, because they're doing that bidding. The NES system is a system that leaves children behind. And I'm gonna tell you why. I have I the NES, I have seen basically what that turns out. That those schools are not teaching children. The teachers are not teaching. If you really got teachers from that NES system and really talk to them about who's learning, those kids aren't learning anything. Why do you think these current board of people, they're not managers, they're just people who they they try to protect their own children from NES. None of them, Adam Ravon, Cassandra Ozambandi, um, Michelle Cruz Arnold. Michelle Cruz Arnold about had a nightmare because one NES was getting too close to her child's school. Linda Garza, all they're doing, and make no mistake, they don't care about your kids. That magnet stuff that they put those constraints in place, that's for their children. It's not for your children. It's not. So if you think that they are representing you, they're no different than the rest of these politicians, and they're not even politicians, because if they were some, they'd be horrible ones because they don't represent their constituents. So if you ever see their names on any ballot, it could be anything. It could be at your church. Please speak against them because they do not represent the public, and they have shown who they are. They do not represent who they're going to represent, even if they're trying to be over the usher board. Vote them down. Please don't buy into that. But back to Savant's speech, he talked about a little girl who Miles, and that's what he was talking about. Miles took away her bus transportation. She wanted school choice. They took it away. And she left HISD, enrolled in an online charter school because that's what they are. And it takes away money from the district. Miles doesn't care about HISD because if he did, the old board members, the elected board, would have found a way, had that come to them, and found another way for that child to get to school. But they don't care about none of that. Long as their little children, little golden children, are being affected by this NES mess. Anywho, moving on.
Next, we will hear from speakers who identify themselves as students when they checked in this evening. Speakers, please state your name when you step up to the microphone. Ms. Smith will please call our speakers.
I'd like to call the student speakers to the front row, please. We have 4 present.
Moving. Okay, this girl, these two children, I'm gonna show them. They were really powerful speakers.
Tend to know everyone's definition of violence, but
Okay, here we
policies
go.
being discussed at this meeting, fellow students of mine walked out of class in protest. These students were then met with in-school suspension and parent meetings under the district's new policy meant to notify parents of campus violence. No, I'm not going to stand here and pretend to know everyone's definition of violence, but I am going to ask, is this policy that disciplines students for a peaceful demonstration of resistance to a forceful overtaking of the school district, is this meant to educate them? And I can tell you without a trace of doubt that anyone with any respect or consideration for future generations should be ready to defend their quality of education and do the bare minimum amount of research into policies claiming to notify parents of campus violence, when in reality there are hurtful rules designed to oppose resistance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, Isabel Bunn.
Can I start? Okay. Good evening, members of the HISD board. My name is Isabel Bunn, and I am a deeply concerned 12th grade student at Lamar High School. Tonight, I stand before you not just as a student, but as a voice for the thousands who feel unseen, unheard, and undervalued in a system meant to uplift them. Education is not just about test scores. It is about hope, opportunity, and the promise of a better future. But that promise is being broken. Walk into our schools, and you will see it. libraries stripped away, teachers overburdened, students forced into a system that prioritizes compliance over creativity, control over compassion, and test prep over true growth. This is not education, this is not equity, and this is not justice. The state takeover has only deepened the crisis, replacing stability with chaos. We are told to accept the loss of enrichment, the elimination of libraries, and the erosion of joy in learning. But I'm here to tell you, we will not accept it. We cannot accept it, because this is not just about policy. It is about lives, futures, and the fundamental right to learn. It is about teachers who give their all, only to be met with disregard. It is about communities systematically silenced. I urge you to take immediate action. Ensure equitable funding. Support our teachers. Restore libraries and enrichment programs. And above all, listen to those most affected. The time to act is now, and the responsibility is yours. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Eliana Gottlieb. As we review mid-year academic
Now, I'm going to preface this because she was funny. And I laughed because the very slides that she was talking about with the feral pigs, I'm going to have to find it so I can show it to you all because it was hilarious. Like it hilarious in a stupid way. So I'm going to wait till close to the end once we're finished with this. And we're talking about the TES system so you can see it. It was quite interesting.
process, I want to tell you about some absolutely laughable materials I have received in class this year. We have had an exercise analyzing an excerpt from The Women of Hidden Figures about black women who worked at NASA in the 50s and 60s. The exercise was full of AI-generated pictures where everyone's face looks the same. In another one, Katherine Johnson has pencils for fingers and is standing in front of a blackboard covered in gibberish. These were real people. We have actual pictures of these heroes working on their computers and at their desks. It would be great to see what they actually looked like, where they worked, and what they were working on. To me, this is disrespectful to what they accomplished. We also read about feral pigs attacking turtle nests, but the pictures have misspelled words on them, animals that don't exist, like a terrifying pig-turtle hybrid, and a turtle sitting in a massive bird's nest made of sticks and leaves. There's plenty more, but I only have a minute. You need to know that the materials you are forcing teachers to use contain information that is wrong and distracting. Please try to do better.
Thank you.
Yeah, talking about education at its finest. And then there are teachers that said, I went to NES for the money. Like you're toe tapping, destroying kids' education in the name of a retirement system that may not even be there when it's time for you to retire. Like it makes no sense. That's what we're up against. Yeah, this foolishness.
We also have a student speaker on Zoom.
Adita Sage Bittner, please unmute yourself and you may begin.
My name is Adita Sage Bittner, and I'm a fifth grader at Conset Elementary. School choice ended yesterday, and my friends and I have been talking about where we hope to go for sixth grade. Our parents have been talking about which schools are secretly NES. On school tours, we asked how many teachers are certified, what books students are reading, and what electives and activities are offered. We asked about field trips, PTO events, and opting out of MAP and STAR tests. NES schools are lacking in these areas. NES is supposed to be good for the lowest performing schools, but families aren't buying it. No one wants it. Everyone wants to get far away from it. Families with options are leaving because NES isn't real learning. It's test prep with scripted lessons from uncertified teachers. I can't change that, but the Board of Managers can. You made the lowest performing schools NES, and only you can fix it. Vote no on item 5 and say what the community has been saying. NES is not educating students. Thank you.
Are there any other students in person?
Any other students out here?
So I'm gonna move on to Dr. Maria Benzon because I want you all to hear her board speech about this manipulated data. And then I'm gonna tell you about a conversation I had with Angela Flowers, one of the board of people. Okay, let me move
Okay, well,
on.
when they get here,
Let me move. Okay, here we are.
When there was 42% teacher turnover rate, when the enrollment at NES schools decreased, when the bond failed, he's failed every time. And you gave him a bonus. Will you pass the OSHU test?
thank you.
Maria Benzon, you may begin.
Hi, my name is Dr. Maria Benzon. Once again, I'm here to call out misleading data. If you want to be data-driven, start with accurate and complete numbers. Right now, that's not happening. Take Exhibit 8. It claims at the beginning of the year, 11th graders who earned AP credit was 18%, dual enrollment 4.9%, and dual credit 16%. But in September, the same data showed AP at 26%, dual enrollment at 9%, and dual credit at 14%. Why are past numbers smaller in later reports? Are you lowering baseline data to fabricate progress?
And that's absolutely what they're doing. None of the data that is coming out of HISD is true. And I'm going to give you what I know about the data. So, a lot of people, like I said, these board meetings are that it's educational jargon, which I understand. I speak educational jargon. But in layman's terms, when we talk about accountability, there's four domains, four. And I think in this new one, they may have reduced it to three. I'm not sure. I hadn't paid attention because it's caught up in litigation. So they're not giving school ratings anyway. So there were four domains. Domain one is student achievement. There are two ways that a school can get a rating. It's through student achievement, domain one, and closing the gaps, domain three. Now listen closely, class. Domain one are your high achieving schools. They are your A, B, and sometimes C schools, depending on how high the C is. That's one way. Those are high achieving. There's schools in the NES that are historically underperforming schools. I'm not going to call them failing schools because the failure is not through no fault of their own. The system is designed for them to fail. So we're going to say they're underperforming schools. They are domain three schools, meaning that they get their accountability on growth. Well, here's the problem with this new accountability system. The domain one schools, which are your high achieving schools, they were screaming about the new accountability because they were changing the way that the growth counted for accountability. And normally, the TA gives us a baseline year, which makes sense. It gives people a year to adjust to know what to expect. But Mike Morath and Greg Abbott had other plans. And they said, no, we're not going to give you a baseline year. You're going to be rated under this new accountability system. Well, targeted improvement plans, which she is speaking to item 5, is where Miles is using NES as a research-based targeted intervention, which is not. It's experimental. That's what NES is. It is experimental, and there's no research behind it. Some people have told me that they asked Miles where the research is. Mister, I talked to a prediction ring, said it's in his head. And he pulls out a paper that he wrote. I died. Like he has no degree in education, not one. He doesn't even know. He's never even really taught. All he's doing is experimenting on children, your children. So back to what she's saying. If a domain 3 closing the gap school is not making it in domain 3, they are F schools. So Miles had 37 schools, and Kristen Holt got up there and said all what she said. Basically, some of the schools aren't supposed to be in there, but I don't care if you have 30 schools, you have 30 F schools. Those are NES schools. We know that they're not making it in domain one because they're not passing a STAR test. I think you have to have 70 or 60 to hit or even claim domain one, because schools have a choice. Either they're going to claim domain three to get their accountability rating, or they're going to do domain one. That's how the accountability system works. So please make no mistake, none of those NES schools, unless they were domain one schools, they are domain three schools closing the gaps. And what the state does, they compare them to other low performing schools. That's how it works. I bet you didn't know that. And the high performing schools are compared to other high performing schools. The schools are not put together. So when Forest Brook and all these other schools, oh, we made a B. We made a B. They're still failing in domain one. That's some information for you. They're still failing. It's all smoke and mirrors. Nothing about STAR. STAR, you don't even have to have a passing score. You know, for Algebra 1, for kids to pass, they can make a 38. They don't even have to know 70% of the curriculum. You know why it's designed that way? It's to deceive the public. NWA, that's deception too. All of it is deception. When Miles talks about in the map scores and we grew this much, well, the kids are down here at the bottom. They're way at the bottom. So they're growing, but guess what? If on grade level or close to on grade level, sea level, they're still underneath sea level. That's how I can get you to understand that. They're still not passing. They're still failing. They still can't read. But he won't show you those graphs. Ask your child's teacher, if you're in HISD, to show you your child's graph from NWA. Tell them to send a screenshot of it. You'll be surprised. Your child is either still under sea level, above sea level, and I tell my students, you're in the sky, because that's where it's blue. That's where your high performing kids are. And that's the trick. Your high performing kids are above grade level, but we get hit because it's negative because they're so high and they can't grow. Who goes up in the sky? Yeah. How far do they have to grow? They can't. Like, it's some foolishness. So I support Dr. Maria Benzon every time she speaks because she's telling the absolute truth. But back to what she was saying.
This pattern is clear. Fix the data. Tell the truth. Stop manipulating numbers. If you made an error, admit it. If the methodology changed, explain it. But stop gaslighting the public. The public deserves the truth, not a carefully crafted narrative designed to make this administration look like a savior. Like a colonoscopy, when you take a close look, the problems are obvious. We see them. Do you?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this lady, I mean, I bust out laughing. I didn't expect what I'm going to let you see what she said. Let's go ahead.
Darcy La Rota, you may begin.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So tonight, I'm actually speaking on behalf of an employee at Wharton Language Academy. They state, fire Principal Celadon. She engages in manipulative and narcissistic behavior rather than foster collaboration and trust among staff. Many of us have experienced disrespect, belittlement, and a lack of acknowledgement for our hard work. It's disheartening to witness a leader who consistently shifts blame onto her staff while refusing to accept accountability for her poor decisions. Our students sense the tension and negativity that permeate the school environment. It's crucial we provide our children with a safe, encouraging place devoid of such distress. Teacher, staff, and most importantly, children are suffering from her oppressive regime. Celadon is self-serving, demeaning behavior, and your inability to foster a supportive environment has converted our workplace to a nightmare. Now I'll use my own words and my own personal statement. As Darcy Larota, I want the record to show that Veronica Celadon is a moron, but it's emblematic of Mike Miles' mission to groom our children, be
Thank you.
followers rather than leaders.
They did not like that. And baby, I'd like to choke when she said that. I don't even know who the lady is, but she looks so sweet coming on. Yes, it's my turn. Woo! That was funny. But moving on.
Thank you.
So I'm going to show you the one of the Northside 45, 45. He spoke, and it's really heartbreaking that these children are learning at a very early age that America doesn't love them. They're in a country that despises them. I think I learned that lesson when I was in my 20s. So as an adult, I was pretty much able to stomach what I realized that my skin color was an issue. I had the conversation with one of my coworkers, a male colleague, and wow, um, a male colleague, and I asked him, I said, when did you realize that America doesn't like you? And he said, Michael Brown, when he was killed. He said, I realized then my skin color was a problem. Yeah. So, conversations like that. And it's sad that these children are learning that even the people that look like them are sometimes not for them. That's what their Latino community voted for. The things that are happening to them, they have been betrayed by the United States, and they're worse, they have been betrayed by people that look like them via voters. Let me
Did
watch.
they? Okay. Give him a minute.
Let me see. Here he is. Okay. Come on. There he is.
I am from Northside High School. I'm here because of the 7th of February. I was protesting for my loved ones, family members, and friends. It is unjust to expel a student from a school, all because they were using their freedom of speech. Where I'm going with this is I want to talk about the First Amendment. In December 15th of 1791, James Madison wrote the First Amendment, stating that any person may use their freedom of speech to express their religious beliefs expressed in their emotions, talk about their political view. What I'm trying to say with this is that this amendment does not just work on adults, but it's also made for teens and kids. It applies to anybody. But when they're using freedom of speech, you guys were fighting to expel us as the students. I wonder why. We, the students that were protesting, were doing it in a peaceful manner with a good intention. We apologize for the students that were misbehaving and being.
You can keep going. Go ahead. Please turn his mic on.
Excuse me?
Go ahead.
Nothing to do with reckless part. You guys should have checked the cameras to see who was the one being misbehaving. In my part, to defend myself, I can proudly say that I was loudly making it clear that we are here to protest in a peaceful manner. I don't want any of you breaking anything or being reckless. I would like for all of you to give power to the students and for the suspensions to get out of our record and to keep ICE out of our learning centers. And instead of investing money in ICE raids, the money should be invested into every school to make it into a better learning environment. Last year, we had an unfortunate loss in Marshall Middle School, all because you weren't paying for more ACs. All I am saying is that you guys should focus more on what matters. As board members, you guys need to do better, be better.
Thank you. Are there any other students that have arrived?
So, very good speech, because they unjustly, and that's what they do. They unjustly suspend children when children don't conform. And the unfortunate part is there are some parents that do not show up for their children when the children are fighting for justice and trying to be responsible citizens or mimic responsible behavior. And the children are left up to the school district, and the school district does what it will with these children. It's really sad. And I am proud to say that some of the parents are fighting back, some of them are. And I don't think the school district expected that from Northside. And I'm going to say this, and it's going to be unpopular, but just like in the little girl's speech, she said there are two Americas. There's two. There's one that's minority, and there's one that is for the majority. And had this happened at a majority school, those children would not have been suspended, or the thought of expulsion wouldn't have ever happened. None of it. They'd have checked those cameras, and they would have been extra careful about who they expelled, because that's the privilege in being part of the majority. And these children have to learn at a very early age, as they mature and grow into young adults, that it's not fair and it'll never be fair, and that they always will be treated disrespectfully, not just by America, by the very school system that is supposed to care and be a safe space for these children. And it is not. I have seen this happen more often than I would like to admit. It is a sad state of affairs for our children. It really is. And this is one of the reasons why I continue to fight, because at the end of the day, what is a life if you're not using your potential to advocate for those that cannot? That is for our Latino children and our Black children who are disrespected by this school system, who are disrespected by the state of Texas, who are always disrespected and disregarded by the United States of America. Moving on.
Okay, so Superintendent Miles, you have the floor.
So I generally leave because you know what? I can be lied to via video. I never watch his stuff because at the end of the day, it's all lies. He might tell the truth every now and again. He might say something every now and again that is truthful, but what they do is propaganda. That's what propaganda is. I did a lesson during Trump's first administration. I was teaching 5th grade, and I really wanted to empower my students. So I created this lesson called Data Doesn't Lie, People Do. That was the name of the lesson. Then I wrote a blog post about it. It was awesome. Um, so data doesn't lie, people lie. That's what my students needed to learn. And we talked about the Muslim ban and all the things that Trump was saying about the students, and they were empowered to know that many of the things that he was saying are not true. And it's no different about in this administration. They tell the public untruths. For those of you all who don't like the word lie, they tell untruths, and they tell a lot of them. And when you start calling them out on it, just like what is it, Mario, what, Garcia or Gomez, the one who did the um news segment on Miles taking $2 million and took a position for electioneering. But when you throw the truth out in their face, he's not available to speak. But he wants to tell a lie every chance he gets. Oops, my bad, untruth. He wants to tell an untruth every time, because it's not true. And we can prove that his data is false. I've proven it over and over again. Dr. Benzon has. It's false.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We've broken it up both by student group, but also by grade level. And so what the graph on the right really does tell us is that in 10th grades, many students, a much higher percent of students are on track to be completers because at the end of that fall semester, they only need.
and she can't say and predict that they're on track for anything because what they're not going to tell you, because I worked at a high school, a lot of those kids have failed other EOC tests, and that is not shown in the data. It's not. A lot of, yeah, they're on track, but they still have tests. A lot of those children still are retesting. What you all don't know about a high school gives end of course in the summer, the fall, and the winter. Ask your high school. There's so many, they have retesters over and over and over again because they give the test so often. When the ninth graders test in the spring, you have seniors who shouldn't have any tests because they only take 5 tests in high school. English 1, English 2, that's ninth and 10th. Then you have Algebra 1 if you haven't taken it in 8th grade. Then you have US History and Biology. That's it. You should not have any tests your senior year. So what you need to ask HISD, how many retesters are there? But that's not a question that people are asking. Moving on. I don't have time to listen to this. You all can watch that on your own. And I don't have time to listen to it. They don't get no airplay on here. They can move on. They get nothing. So let's move on to the TES system. This is my fave. This lady got up here and told a whole bunch of falsehoods. Let's start.
You okay with this mic, right? Let me know when you're ready.
And I will have some sound.
It should work. Okay, perfect. It should work. No guarantee, but it should work.
Okay, thank you. I'm ready.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
Are you all ready?
yeah, we're ready.
We also made some very clear commitments to you all. Through the DAC, through a lot of collaboration, you all passed the District of Innovation Plan in December of 2023. And in the District of Innovation Plan, it very clearly lays out our marching orders on this particular initiative. We promised and we committed to community input, collaboration.
Yeah, collaboration is when you have choice. What they're doing is rolling out a teacher evaluation system that nobody wants. But what they're not doing is showing the feedback from teachers. Because the information that I get back from teachers is that they don't want this system. Nobody wants it. But in true fashion, the Board of People, they are not going to listen. They're not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I email them all the time for future reference because there's gonna be a time when Miles is gone and this mess comes to light. Nobody's gonna be shielding anything, and I get to bring all my emails and show what was said and what they knew about. Because see, like I said, consequences are not immediate, and their consequences and what they're going to reap their harvest of what they're sowing today. I promise you that. I promise. I may not even be in HISD then, but they're going to reap what they're sow because that harvest of the seeds of the evilness that they're doing and didn't listen to the public, that's coming. And it's going to come when they least expect it. I promise you that.
Relying on evidence-based practices, hearing from teachers and leaders and having them be the ones driving this work. And it's been a very, big honor.
She talks too
I
much.
mentioned already 100% of our campuses engaged in the SDMCs and the TES talks, and the SDMCs and the DAC members.
Yeah,
What
whatever.
does it look like in an IB classroom? What does it look like in a special education inclusion class? So we're working on building that video library and resources as well. Third, we're thinking about valuing a teacher's contribution.
Yeah. They don't care about teachers. They don't. What I want to get to is this teacher, he wanted publicity, so we're going to give him publicity. I was told that he wants to be a principal, so I'm going to put him on here so that he can get the publicity that he wants and wanted coming to HISD's board meeting and basically betraying all of the teachers in HISD. Let me go ahead, and he's going to speak after her.
Them, hey, you're part of the team.
See, we know that principals have to do this or they're going to get fired for the most part. Some of them are willing participants. I don't know her, so I'm not going to speak on what I don't know. I'm going to speak on Mr. You're going to get his name. You're going to get his name.
The teachers that operate under an.
Okay, here we go.
One of the things that my team has truly enjoyed is giving that feedback and also having our.
Jumped on in. But once again,
I want y'all to get his name. So if you want him as a principal at your campus, this is for people who are watching. Yeah, this is what somebody does when they betray their coworkers and colleagues in the same district in the name of a title.
To serve as that teacher to bring back that feedback.
Here you go, cheese.
good afternoon.
Yeah, look at
How
that.
you doing today? I am Val Keaton Winters. This makes my 25th year as an educator.
As an educator, deception. He's an elective teacher. Let's keep it in perspective. He's an elective teacher. Notice, he didn't represent the elective teachers. He represented the educator because he's deceiving. Because this TES, and I'm going to show you how he's not represented in that teacher evaluation system. He's attempting to speak to the board of managers for educators. He knows nothing about reading, math, science, or social studies because he's an elective teacher. Listen.
So, yes, my principal did. She was like, hey, I have something that you'll be very interested in. And I was like, okay, I jumped on in. But once again, 25 years, you're a little nervous because I have been to so many meetings where they say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And it does not happen. But this one was different. We went into this meeting, they said you can be yourself. You don't have to agree with everything that's going to happen inside of this room. We're going to have some going back and forth. And it happened like that. But when I went back to my campus, the things that we talked about in the meeting, it showed on campus.
Lies you tell. That is not this new administration. They are not changing things like that. Let's be clear. That is not happening. From the feedback that I got is that it's heated all the time in these meetings. And you know what? More specifically, it's heated when they talk about pay. The reason why not one core content teacher, they could not get a core content teacher, meaning math or reading, science or social studies, to vouch for this is because they do not vouch for this system because the accountability is unfairly placed on the shoulders of reading and math teachers and anybody else who is under STAR. Never has he given, probably don't even know what a STAR test is, STAR prep look like, NWE made math, because he teaches communication. And that's not disrespectful. What I am saying is, you don't, as teachers, you don't get to speak on other teachers' content. I'm a math teacher. Never will you hear me speak on what fine arts teachers experience in their field. I'm not a fine arts teacher. When the media asks me for comment about fine arts, I tell them I don't know about fine arts, but I can find you a teacher that can speak to you on or off the record about what's happening with fine arts. That's called respect. And this man is disrespectful. He betrayed his colleagues and his fine arts teachers because HISD, Mike Miles, said that elective teachers wasn't worth the pay. That's what he said. And for him to get up here and not even identify himself with the people that he works with every day is disrespectful and concerning. This, he cannot be trusted because at the end of the day, he wants a title, and that's why he's up here. He does not represent teachers. He said, bro, teaches speech.
So if we put together a survey, the exact survey that we voted on, it was actually on my campus now. And I was like, wait, that never happened. I've been in a lot of meetings. That has never happened. So this Trailblazer committee is actually making things happen, and we're actually going in the right direction. And I know that we're taking it step by step by step, but if y'all can just continue to work with her and keep pushing her, y'all gonna see some great things going on.
Now let's roll that back. Let's see. Let's see. He want to be
Jumped
famous.
on in.
Okay.
But once again, 25 years, you're a little nervous because I have been to so many meetings where they say, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and it does not happen. But this one was different. We went into this meeting, they said you can be yourself. You don't have to agree with everything that's going to happen inside of this room. We're going to have some going back and forth. And it happened like that. But when I went back to my campus, the things that we talked about in the meeting, it showed on campus. So if we put together a survey, the exact survey that we voted on, it was actually on my campus now. And I was like, wait, that never happened. I've been in a lot of meetings. That has never happened. So this Trailblazer committee is actually making things happen, and we're actually going in the right direction.
Oh, he said the Trailblazer are going in the right direction. Ask a fine arts teacher, an elective teacher in HISD, especially in those NES systems where are schools where they replace them with untrained, uncertified dyad teachers and reduce their salaries. Ask them if HISD is going in the right direction. I don't disagree. I don't agree with anything this man said. And the betrayal of his peers, it's ridiculous. It really is. For him to say that they're going in the right direction, he has been teaching as an elective teacher for 25 years. And he betrayed his own co-workers and his own department. When he had an opportunity to advocate and identify as an elective teacher, he did not. He did not. And a lot of teachers are like, well, no, I'm not being disrespectful. What I'm saying is he does not represent HISD's teachers. I teach math. Math teachers, let me tell you about an elementary math teacher. Elementary math teachers. Now, let's start with reading teachers because I want y'all to understand the reading teachers are under a lot of stress. The accountability system is really heavily shouldered by the reading teachers because the reading teachers have tail pass. If you don't know what tail pass is, that actually is when we have to move the kids one proficiency level every year. That falls on the shoulder of a reading teacher. The reading teachers have reading star. The reading teachers have reading map. The reading teachers have tail pass. The reading teachers have to make sure that the kids grow on star progress measure. If you're not in a baseline grade level like third grade, a reading teacher, the only way that a star progress measure is assigned, that closing the gap, domain 3, that comes from reading and math in elementary. There's no other way to get it because fifth grade science is a baseline subject, meaning it's their first year that they took it. There's no growth on it because there's not another test. See, that's what you all don't know about accountability. And this gentleman, and I'm going to be honest with you, I went over and introduced myself. I introduced myself and started asking him questions about what I was hearing in the focus group. One of my questions was, did you know that they are trying to give teachers zeros for work? Who puts a zero on a evaluation tool? I said, and it's not even a linear model. Linear means that it's a constant rate of change. And there are equivalent gaps of time or intervals in between each data point. So from one data point, there should be a balance. It's not. Who gives 0.5 on an evaluation tool? That is ridiculous. And it shows that whoever did that, I don't know who did it, don't know what they're doing. There should not be decimals on an evaluation tool. He couldn't even answer that question. He was like, oh, we haven't voted on that, which I found out was not true. They have seen everything that was presented in those focus groups. Now, whether they voted, don't know. I didn't ask. But he's well aware of what is on that rubric. And I'm going to show you all tonight. So, but this is the type of betrayal that teachers are having to deal with if in HISD. This man knows nothing about accountability. All he got up there to do is basically say, yes, everything's great. That's Miles's claim to fame. Everything's great in HISD. Everything's great. This is not true. Everything is not great. What they're trying to do is demean teachers, micromanage teachers, and fail students on an unproven system. Ask Dallas ISD teachers how it's working out over there. It's not working. They've been trying to get from underneath Miles' system and can't shake it because they won't get rid of it. They hate it. I'm in their Dallas Fort Worth group. They hate it. But yet you got him coming up here saying it's great because truth be told, he's not on the evaluation system. He's not. Not there. Moving on.
And
Let's see the board of managers, how excited they were. And
Created a great space and a safe space for people to say, no, I don't like this, or no, I don't like that.
it's not a safe space because if it was a safe space, you would have had core content teachers up there saying, no, we don't like it. How safe is that? But they got an elective teacher to speak for core content teachers who are being represented and heavily beaten down by tests. That's all HISD has turned into. Test, 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 test. And the only people who are shouldering the burden of that are the reading math teachers. Science and social studies later on. But they have two, and the reading teachers and math teachers in elementary are drowning under all this constant testing.
And then they came together, and it was really special seeing all those folks do that. Questions?
I don't have a question, more of a thank you. Thank you for collaborating with those that matter, that those that are going to be in some way impacted, in a very big way with this. That's important. And thank you for bringing them to us so that we could hear firsthand what they're experiencing. And I love, Valkeith, I think that's his name. I love what he said about kind of been there, done that. Never happens. And the fact that this is truly happening, I can see the excitement in both of them, that what they're doing and the time that they're spending on this committee is really coming to fruition. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just blown away by the engagement and the collaboration and the fact that this is best practice, but also you're building culture at the same time. So I want to name out what we're kind of feeling, and I really appreciate you taking methodology and systems and people and using this as an opportunity to build culture for all of us, like with the community, with our campuses, and to get some positive excitement. Just really, really excited for the teachers and for us. Thank you.
Yeah, just to echo Board Member Angie, I work in an organization with 27,000 employees, and every time we roll out something, it's important to get stakeholder feedback. This is a perfect example of collaborative stakeholder engagement that I love seeing in our district. Going forward, let's continue the momentum to making sure that we engage the most important individuals in the areas that they're being impacted. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that one point in particular around let's continue this, because I think we've felt the same way. Through this, we've actually had a couple things pop up that are kind of related to TES, but actually kind of not, but are really good pieces of feedback, and we've been able to connect the Trailblazers and some of our other teachers with the right people in central office to give feedback. And we're hoping to continue this TES trainer program, because we have to make sure that what happens on the ground implementation-wise is what we designed, right?
Thank you. I'll echo all of this. I think one thing that I hope you can raise up a bit is as parents and guardians of and caretakers of our students in the community, this might not necessarily make a lot of sense.
Sure.
What would you like them to take away from this to provide some reassurance as we transition towards this?
Sure, that's a really great question. I think a couple of things. First, I would want parents to know that this new system is a system that is designed to provide clarity to teachers.
And that is the furthest from the truth. There's a teacher talked about their PD on Friday, and I posted it on my Twitter account. It said that they had a poorly written PD about this TES system, and they were supposed to read over about 50 pages in, I guess, about 10 minutes and come up with some takeaways. And what she did is dropped it in Chat GPT and asked for flaws in the system. And you know what what it said? Let me go to it and read what came up. Let me see. She said, at yesterday's PD, we had one on our campus for the new TES that is set to be implemented next year, pending, air quotes, board approval. And so we watched a poorly constructed and poorly explained video on the system where then given about 10 minutes to quote unquote internalize whatever that means the PDF document that explains the new system over 50 something pages. That's not what this lady is saying. Then she said I took the PD, I'm assuming it's a lady because it's an anonymous post, and dropped it into ChatGPT and asked it to find anything concerning and alarming. Sure enough, it found a number of things such as student achievement does not take in account effort, home environment, or the reliability of the test, number one. Lots of room and chances for score manipulation by the principals. I could go averages of observations might not be an accurate representation of the teacher. And I could go on and on. She said, our campus gives us PDs about using AI to assist with lessons and misconceptions. So I just decided to use AI to help me make better sense of this new TS system. I took the concerns with page number references and submitted it into the feedback form we were provided. If you're able, I suggest you do the same. This is what I am telling you. That's why it's concerning that this man, an elective teacher, is speaking for educators. And this is not what it's not just me. There's a list. I can pull the comments from teachers about this evaluation system. And I have one of the fine arts teachers saying we're attacking the man. Nobody's attacking him. If he even said it from that he didn't support it, his view would still be from a fine arts perspective. You cannot speak for core content, and that's what this is about. He's saying that everything is great and it's all great. That is not the consensus of the Houston Independent School District teachers. That's what I'm telling you. That's the feedback that I'm getting back. And for him to get up there and say that it was great, it is a betrayal and a slap in the face to core content teachers who are going to bear the brunt of this system. That's what this is about. It's not about fine arts. It's about betrayal and not and attempting to mislead the public because he identified as an educator. Stay in your lane. That's what we're saying as core content teachers. Because while he's over there not being held accountable, we have all the accountability. So let me switch to my let me switch to let me unlock my screen so I can show you what is on TES. So you all can understand why certain people cannot, let me see. Where is it? It's still there, but I'm trying to share. Let me find it because I had to unlock my, oh, there it is. Main source, video source. I want to share my screen. but it's not sharing. Oh, overlay is locked. Hold on.
Interested in. And I was like, okay, I jumped on in. But once again, 25 years, you're a little nervous because
Hold on. Let me unlock this. There it is.
I have been to so
I'm not concerned about them saying whatever.
many meetings where they say,
Okay, here we are. I had to delete that out of there. So I'm going to bring up this TES system so you can see what I'm talking about when we talk about betrayal of the core content teachers. So this is what they put out to the public. This is what they're putting out to the public. And I'm going to scoot this over so y'all can get a real good view of it. So, student achievement. There's no test for really elective teachers. There's no state accountability. There's nothing. Only thing that fine arts and elective teachers, well, some elective teachers are accounted for, are for the CNCCMR, which is college, career, and military readiness. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not discounting what fine arts teachers bring because it balances it for our students. But what I'm saying when it comes to accountability for academics, they can't speak for us because this is a harsh system. It's harsh. That's what it is. It's harsh. Quality of instruction, planning and professional action plan. Now, you see this right here. You see group A? That's me. That's all of the core content. You see that? English, language arts, math, science courses, grade 1. Group C is high school English. You know why they're grouped together? Because they're core teachers. And when you get somebody to speak, there should have been people to represent these groups. You know who he represents? Group F. Now you can understand why there wasn't anybody to represent us in front of the board, because that's not what those core content teachers would have said. He represents Group F, student learning objectives, all courses not in A through E. You see this? Even high school biology has end of course, and U.S. history has end of course. They're in group F. And what I was told by a trailblazer participant in the group, that this system is not for group F. So how can an elective teacher speak for group A, group B, or any of these other groups? That's what this is about. But an elective teacher will tell you it's about something else. No, you don't get to speak for us, sir, because let's be clear. Let me show you why they need to speak for Group F people. Hold on 1 second. Let me get to it. This is why. You see any state tests or any type of tests for those people? Nothing. 2 through 8, science, reading, first grade math, NWA math. K through 1 reading, Dibbles, Lectura. 9th through 12th, they have STAR. You know what they have? Art of Thinking, a district made test. Biology, US history has STAR. IB, they even have a IB exam that's calculated. Yeah. This is why. Do you see? And then you have Group F, student learning objective. They are not a part of this accountability system. They're not a part of the teacher excellence system. They have no test, none. And that's why we're against this teacher excellence system, because what's excellence about this? And what they're saying, and this is not even true. I'm telling you, it's not true, because 2 through 8, we don't only have NWA. They only count NWA for your evaluation. But you know what else counts? STAR for state accountability. We are the reason why schools get penalized. If we don't do well, our schools suffer. If 9 through 12 EOC don't do well, TSI don't do well, the schools suffer. And for someone to betray coworkers who is not even tied to a test, they're not tied to a test, to get up there and speak for all the teachers that actually have real consequences for poor performance is wrong. That's what I'm saying. And he misled the public when he was talking about that. This is what is true. We're not supporting higher pay. We want to be paid for what we're paying, what teachers are worth. We want everybody to be paid what they're worth. We don't disrespect other contents, because we are an ecosystem of people. We are an ecosystem, and everybody supports everybody, because we need everybody down to the janitor. That's why we don't support higher pay for this. You're mad because I'm talking about your fine arts area. Y'all don't have no, you're in this too. Y'all don't have accountability. So, respectfully, sir, you all cannot speak for core content areas. And they did that because they wanted to mislead the public. That's where we are. And this is why pay for performance will never work, because it's not equitable and it's not fair. Just pay teachers what we're worth. That's what we're asking for, because we are in an ecosystem and everybody depends on everyone. I teach 3rd grade. I need the K through 2 teachers to do their jobs so I can do mine. 3 through 4th and 5th, they depend heavily on 3rd grade so they can do their job. 6th through 8th, they depend on 3 through 5, K through 5 to do what they need to do. 9 through 12 depends on 6 through 8 to do their job. And when that cycle is broken, it is a problem. Yeah, it only makes sense for you all. That good point. See, you get it. You get it. It only makes sense for you. So, what we're saying is, that's the statement we want to hear. It makes sense for you because you have no accountability. UIL is not on the state of Texas report card. It doesn't matter. That is personal. We're talking about real consequences for real schools. UIL doesn't do that. That's you. So what I'm saying is respectfully, respect the fact that you don't have an accountability and stop speaking on what other teachers have to deal with because y'all don't know what it's like to teach Algebra 1. I do. I know what it's like to have kids come into Algebra 1 and can't even add. Yeah, that's still personal. You know what happens when we do bad? We don't get fired. Our schools get taken over. So respectfully, it's not the same. That's personal. Everything that you're listing is personal. When we do bad, our principals get fired, our schools get shut down. It's a whole domino effect. So please, respectfully, don't speak on our content. But anyway, moving right along. This is the problem with this TES system. And let me tell you about student learning objective. This is what they have to do. Group F teachers teach courses without a national, state, or local assessment. That's what elective teachers. And I'm not negating anything that the value that they bring. But there's no accountability tied to them. But yet you want to say pay for performance. Really? Although teachers may not be held accountable to the same assessment, they're not. TES ensures that where possible, rigorous metrics with choice, we don't have a choice. I love mathematics. I love science. My kids do well. So my thing is, they are student learning objective. There's no accountability for them. And you can't argue that point. This is where we are. This is what this TES system is about. So I want y'all to take a good look, screenshot it, and you tell me if the teacher excellence system is fair, is it equitable, or does it disproportionately place accountability on teachers where other teachers don't have any accountability? That's what this is about, and that's why we're against this teacher evaluation system. And then it's unfair to high school teachers who are under accountability, because those kids have so many gaps that, from what the Dallas teachers told me, they told me that the elementary teachers and the teachers at high performing schools are the teachers who get the bonuses. And don't get me started on DTR. They want teachers to apply and prove that they're a good teacher. Not that we don't have enough to do and we don't have enough accountability. They want us to go through some DTR. And this is the type of stuff, who can read this? I can read it because I taught algebra. It's inequalities. But who can read this mess? Talking about, and this goes against what this lady said. She said it provides clarity for teachers. How is this clear? Math teachers understand this. Why don't it just say less than 27? Greater than or less than? Why it doesn't say that? That's not clear. That's all this stuff, this mumbo jumbo that's in here. Teachers don't understand this mess. It doesn't. Got decimals, you got whole numbers, and then it's not even linear. It doesn't make any sense. And then, let me see, the action plan. Now, not only do reading and math teachers bear the brunt, because I showed you and told you what we have to do. And the EOC teachers, not only do we have accountability, they're going to add 5% of our evaluation for an action plan. So now we're responsible for another thing, the action plan. So where's the equity? Where's the fairness? Merit pay, performance-based pay never works in education. It never works. It never works. And this is why we're advocating against this system. It doesn't make sense. Why? And let me go back to this pie chart graph. This is the pie graph. Now, I'm going to break this down so you all can understand. Quality of instruction, student achievement. This has this part 45%, used to be 65%. So now it's 45%, professionalism 15%, and the campus action plan. But here's the thing, inside this student achievement is STAR testing. But they don't have it on here, but it's a part of it. So you have several different things inside of this student achievement. You do. And then look, they got algebra on here. Times 45, that's a scale factor. But you got to know math to really even understand it. But yeah, they're giving us clarity. So I came to you tonight because I wanted you to see what was discussed at the board meeting. If you are a teacher in HISD, if you are part of core content, please email those board of managers. Don't just put it on that feedback form, because what I do and want you to know that they are going to cherry pick what they send to those board of managers. Email them yourselves, because I emailed them this morning as a teacher. No fine arts teacher can speak for me as a core content teacher at all. I can speak for myself. And I don't agree with this teacher evaluation system. And if you want your voice heard, send emails to those board of managers. That's what you can do. And let them know that this is an unfair system, and what they heard is not collaboration. Because what I was told, every time we talk about pay, it gets heated in those trailblazer meetings. And many of the teachers are not on board with this system. The system is not designed for Group F. You saw that for yourself for those elective teachers, because they don't have any state accountability or any type of academic accountability when it comes to this system. We want fair pay. Pay teachers what we're worth. We're an ecosystem where we depend on every part, down to the janitors and the custodians and the cafeteria workers. That's what a school, that's why they call it a school system, because we have systems and we're connected. So thank you all for tuning in. And I'll see y'all next month for my board recap. Bye-bye.